Today marks the start of interviews with the 4 shortlisted candidates for the vacant position of Chief Justice of South Africa. Constitutional Court Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, Acting Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, Supreme Court of Appeal President Mandisa, and the Gauteng Judge President Dunstan and Mlambo, all set to be interviewed by the Judicial Service Commission over the next 4 days this week. After that, the JSC will submit a report to President Cyril Ramaphosa, who'll then have to make that final decision. Let's get you a sense of what else you need to know. Bring in Newzroom Afrika contributor Dianne Hawker live to us now from Sandton, where these interviews will be taking place. And Dianne, we've been waiting for this moment for quite some time. My understanding is that we'll have 1 candidate per day in alphabetical order. That means Mbuyiseli Madlanga is first.
Yes, absolutely, Ayanda. Good morning to you and good morning to the viewers. It's going to be quite a grueling interview process because a full day has been set aside for each candidate. The last time we saw such a lengthy interview process was perhaps when Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo was interviewed, and also when the former Chief Justice Mogoeng was interviewed. He was in fact interviewed on a Saturday in quite a lengthy sitting as well. Now each candidate is going to have a full day to kind of state their case to be the Chief Justice. As you mentioned, we'll be starting with Judge Mbuyiseli Madlanga, and at 7 a.m. we'll be able to take a closer look at his profile as a judge as well as his career. So hopefully the viewers will stay tuned for that. Tomorrow we'll be having Justice Mandisa, and then followed by Judge Mlambo, and finally ending off on Friday with Deputy Chief Justice or Acting Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. So quite an intense period of interviews expected for the week ahead.
And it'll be interesting to also take note of the kind of questions that are asked, especially when you consider the composition of the commission itself. You've got Ronald Lamola, who's there, Advocate Dianne Hawker, who's there, Mandisa, the Minister I beg your pardon, she's now the National Speaker of the National Assembly. Advocate Thuli Madonsela, also part of this commission. It would be interesting to kind of gauge the kind of questions that these people bring forward, given the role that they play within this commission.
Well, yes, Ayanda, the Judicial Service Commission actually has quite an interesting constitutionally mandated composition. It has members of the National Assembly. It also has members of the legal profession. And the way that things usually unfold, Ayanda, is that those who are from the legal profession tend to ask questions that relate much more to the judicial work that the candidates have done. They'll ask about things like previous judgments and also understandings of law, in this case most likely constitutional issues, because the person who becomes Chief Justice will be the head of the Constitutional Court. But then we also tend to have from the members of the JSC who come from Parliament and those designated by the President, you'll tend to get some questions that are more sort of dealing with things, political issues, such as, transformation of the judiciary. And that's something that we saw come up quite often in the previous interviews for judicial candidates, especially those joining the Constitutional Court. Transformation of the judiciary is a very recurring issue here at the Judicial Service Commission. It's one that's often asked not only from a race perspective, but also from a gender perspective quite often. And that's likely to also be something that plays up, considering that only one of the candidates here is a woman judge.